Hey guys, in today's video I have a get ready with me. I am going to be sharing with you guys the complexion as well as the eye look. Someone asked to see the eye look in the, because I think I was wearing it in the last couple of videos or something like that. So I'm going to start off with the skin first, and I'm going to prime my face with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I really like this primer, especially with foundations that are meant to be a little bit more hydrating or give the skin more of a glow. I feel like this helps control the oil. It helps smooth out my skin. Because I need a little bit of hydration though, I am going in with the primer water from Smashbox as well. And this has helped quite a bit because it adds a little bit more moisture onto the skin, and I've been flaking quite a bit, so this one helps out a lot. For the eye primer, I use the Wet n Wild Fergie primer. I have that in my year-long project, and the Healthy, what is it called? It's from Physicians Formula. It's called the Healthy Foundation, and I have the shade DW2. So this one comes with a doe foot applicator, and I don't like applying that directly onto my skin, although I am the only one that's using it. I have a fear of breaking out, and my skin breaks out really easily. So what I like to do is apply it to the back of my hand and pick it up with a brush. This is a foundation brush from Real Techniques or a beauty blender. And I've been wearing it like this quite a bit, where I add a very light layer of the foundation, and just to help even out the skin a little bit, and then I go in with a little bit more concealer if I need any additional coverage. So I like using the Sephora Bright Future Gel Serum Concealers. I have the shade Caramel, which is the deeper one, and that one I like applying it to the darker areas under my eyes. And then the lighter one, which is Pecan Pie, it's a little bit lighter and it's a little bit more yellow. I use it to highlight. So that one I apply on my cheekbones, my chin, in between my brows, and then surrounding the area around my mouth because I have some dark spots there. I love this concealer because it adds great coverage, but it doesn't dry out my under eyes, nor does it look heavy, and it almost gives the skin under the eyes a bit of a glow. And you guys can even see it on my cheekbones as well, where it doesn't look heavy, but it adds the right amount of coverage. I think it's really beautiful. To me, it's very comparable to the serum concealer from Bare Minerals, and that one I adore as well. But this one is, I believe, like $10 cheaper, which is really, really great. Moving on to bronzer, I have the Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free. This is their stick foundation, and I have the shade Coconut. I love this. I've mentioned this before in Get Ready With Me's. I really like this foundation stick as a bronzer. I'm usually very sensitive to cream bronzers, and so using a deeper foundation that's a little bit warmer works out better for me because then my skin doesn't break out as easily. So this guy, I am blending it out with the same foundation brush that I use to apply my foundation. Just tap it in place in my cheekbone area and then just spread it out a little bit just to help blend it out. I applied it to the forehead, the hollows of the cheeks, under the jawline, or on the jawline, the sides of my nose, and then right underneath the lip, because I feel like it helps the lip look a little bit more pouty. And then I'm just blending out the sides of the nose with the same brush. And then I do go in with the beauty blender with any remaining either foundation or concealer that may be on there, just to help blend it out a little bit more. I'm watching Outlander, so if you guys see me looking down a lot, it's because I'm addicted. I'm on the last season and I'm on the last few episodes, so I can't seem to stop watching it. And because of that, I kind of went a little bit heavy, and the bronzer on the sides of my nose got a little crooked, so I just went in with a sponge to fix that. I'm going in with the beauty blender just to blend out a little bit of the concealer because it creased, and I'm going in with the MAC Prep and Prime powder. This is their loose powder. I have mentioned before that I enjoy this powder, but a very light amount is all I can apply. If I apply any more, it almost dries out. It's kind of weird. Not that it dries out my under eyes, but it leaves a white cast under my eyes. Although it is a translucent powder, I feel like I can see it a little bit more, and if anything, it almost dries it. Not that it dries me out under my eyes, but it looks dry under the eyes. I do apply a small amount on my T-zone area. If I apply too much in that area though, I do tend to get oily, so a little bit goes a long way for me. This is another product that is in my year-long project from 2019, and I continue to use it this year, although I haven't closed out my year-long project nor done an intro for this year. But anyways, okay, moving on to the L'Oreal. This is the Bronze Place the Terra Sun Powder Face Body. This is a bronzer, and this is in 03. I have been using this bronzer a lot. It's pretty much all I've been reaching for, this one and the bronzer that I have in my Pan That palette. And I love this bronzer because it has a bit of a sheen. It doesn't have shimmer, but it has a bit of a sheen, kind of like the Hourglass bronzers that they have. But it's not as glowy as those. But this powder or this bronzer is very finely milled, blends out beautifully, looks beautiful, and it adds just a hint of glow onto the skin. So I'm applying it to the usual areas, you know, the forehead, hollows of the cheeks, right at the jawline, and then the sides of my nose, basically wherever I applied my cream bronzer. For the blush, I have the Dual Intensity blush from NARS. This one is in Panic, so I just dipped the brush into both of the blushes. These blushes have a little bit of a glow as well. So as you can see, I'm into the glow. With pretty much all the products that I am applying onto my face have some form of glow, because I've been a little bit on the dry side, so I need a little bit of assistance. The brush that I'm using is actually from Sephora. It's their blush brush. Let's see, what's the name of this brush? It's called the Pro Angled Blush brush M49. And I love it because it's the perfect it's a perfect shape and the perfect size for my cheeks. For a highlight, I have the Hourglass Ambient Light powders. So there's 3 powders in this little palette here, and I'll start off with all 3, just running my brush through all 3 powders, and then I will only focus on the deeper one in the palette, and I believe that is the one in Radiant Light. And I'll go in and apply it to the high points of the face, and then whatever is remaining, I'll run it on my forehead, my nose, my chin, pretty much almost my entire face. And I like applying my powders with a very small brush. So this is a large eyeshadow brush, but I like it for powders because it allows me to have a little bit more control as far as application and basically where I'm applying the powder. So I basically bathe in this powder because it adds the most beautiful glow onto the skin. I'm sealing everything with the Smashbox primer water once again, and then I go in with the Pixie Glow Mist. I actually put this into my Mario Badescu spray bottle because the bottle that the Glow Mist came in with was, I don't know, it's broken. Every time I buy it, it doesn't spray out very well, but I was running out, so it just kind of spit it out. And because it left a bunch of little dots, I just went in with my beauty blender to kind of help blend it into the skin. And I love it because it adds, it moisturizes the skin, and it adds this beautiful glow. All right, moving on to the eyes. I'm going to start off with the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Cocoa. This one has a bit of a bronze shimmer. So it's a cream eyeshadow basically, and I apply it directly onto the eyelid. I do keep it kind of low and make sure to run it really well into the lash line because I don't want there to be any skin showing. I am doing one eye at a time before it sets, and I blend it out with just a regular blending brush. This is like a MAC 217. I think it is from MAC. It could be a MAC or Coastal Scents. I can't remember which one I'm using, but they're pretty much the same. The way I'm blending it out is by tapping it in place side to side at first. I tap it in place, but gradually start dragging it up very, very slowly. And the higher I go, I release the pressure. So I'm basically barely gliding it onto the crease area and above the crease because I don't want to deposit a lot of color. I want to create a gradient. So I do take my time with this eyeshadow. This eye look is very easy, by the way. It doesn't require a lot of products. It just takes a little bit of layering and just a little bit of time and a little bit of patience while blending it out. Although this caviar stick, they're very creamy and they blend out very easy. So here you guys are going to see me go back and forth with applying the stick shadow onto the lid and then going back in with the same brush to blend it out. And again, you know, I tap it in place on the lid because I don't want to remove a lot of the color. And then once I keep moving the shadow up, I grace the brush kind of side to side, mainly dragging the color inward instead of outward because I'm not trying to wing it out very much. I also apply the caviar stick to the lower lash line, and then I had forgotten that I had not applied my liner in my waterline. So I applied the Stila U waterproof liner in Espresso from Chanel. I've mentioned this is one of my favorite eyeliners because I have allergies and my eyes water quite a bit. Liners don't last a very long time in my waterline. This one does though. It's the one that has lasted in my waterline the best, basically. Then I go in with a brush to blend out the cocoa shadow from Laura Mercier. And again, you know, I tap it in place closest to the lash line and then I start to slowly drag it down. I may have in the previous look that I was wearing in those two videos, I may have dragged it lower, but that really depends on you and how low you want to take it, basically. I didn't want to take it too low. I then went in a little bit again with the caviar stick in cocoa on the lid area and blended it up into the crease and then applied it again to the waterline. So I just kind of keep going back and forth. I am using a couple of powdered shadows though, so I'm gonna go in with and I had forgotten to hit record, so you're gonna see a little bit of shadow on my eyes. I applied Sin from the Naked palette under the arch of the brows to add a little bit of a highlight and a little bit of glow. And then I also grabbed Buck. So that's the shadow Sin that I forgot. I forgot to hit record. Oh well. And then I went in with Buck and applied that into the crease. And then this shadow, I'm also applying it to the lower lash. Not over top of Cocoa, but mainly underneath Cocoa, just to help blend it out a little bit more. And then I grab a little bit more of Cocoa, which is the caviar stick from Laura Mercier, and applied a little bit more into my crease just because I wanted to drag it up a little bit. For the gold or the gold shadow that's going to go on my lid, I did use the Loreal Pro palette. This is my Pan That palette. And I grabbed the shade Gold and applied that onto the center of the lid. The brush that I'm using is a very flat kind of shader brush, but it's from the art supply store. I think I bought it either at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I can't remember anymore, but I like it because it's super slim and it's very narrow. It doesn't take up a lot of space. So I start out by applying it to the center of the lid and then drag it up into the crease, but not above the crease. And I take my time in applying it because this shadow does create quite a bit of fallout on me. So I do try to take my time and trying not to apply it to the sides of the lid. And then I go in with the same brush I used with Cocoa just to help blend out the edges. And then I grab Half Baked, which is from the Urban Decay Naked palette, and I apply a little bit of that mainly in the center of the lid and not bringing it quite as far out as Gold because I want a little bit more of a spotlight and mainly in the center. And then I go back to the same brush that I applied Cocoa just to reel in the shimmer shadows and not because I don't want them mainly on the outer part of the eye, basically. And I'm just trying to blend out the shimmer shadow. I think I'm rambling in this video. That's okay. All right, for mascaras, I have the Lash Sensational and the Lash Stiletto from Maybelline, two of my favorite mascaras. And then my lip liner is Oak from MAC. And I am outlining my lips with this, and I'm filling them in as well. Oak from MAC is my perfect, almost concealer nude lip liner. It flushes in with my skin perfectly, and I love it. It's very creamy, and it's such a beautiful lip liner. Highly recommended. And then for lipstick, I couldn't decide between these two. So one of them, the one on the left, is from Urban Decay. I think it's called Stark Naked. And Nude Embrace is Maybelline. And so I decided on Nude Embrace. And this is my perfect concealer nude lipstick. This is from their Creamy Matte collection I've mentioned before. I love the Creamy Matte formulation from Maybelline. They make some of my favorite lipsticks, and this color is so dang beautiful, and it goes really, really well with smoky eyes. I think it looks amazing. And then to add a little bit of gloss, I added Turkish Delight from NARS, which is a lip gloss that's slightly tinted pink, but it's not too noticeable over top of the lipstick. I just wanted to add a little bit of gloss to it. And because I felt like I needed maybe a little bit more color onto my cheeks, I decided to add a little bit more of the blush. So I did pick up, again, the NARS. This is the Dual Intensity blushes in Panic. I dipped my brush into both of them, by the way, and I just wanted to add a little bit more color. So that is everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.